My freedom is not too free, because as a young black male coming out of Memphis, Tennessee, ain't too many options for me, or is it just the mindset of a misguided, ill-advised, unwise teen? See, all my life I done had to fight. Growing up in the greater Memphis where we struggle to survive every day, I'm only here for my education, but in Memphis, hey, what can I say? These streets will make you become a man before you lose your baby face. And that's not determined by your age or your gender, because being a male don't make you a man, and being 36 don't either. Being a man in Memphis, you gotta have integrity and respect. Forget the looks and charms, gang banging and throwing sets. Guess in the greater Memphis ain't too many father figures around, because I lost mine to gun violence, and he been gone for a while. 2006, shall I say, R.I.P. See, my daddy died and I was only 10. I was his little man and he was my best friend. But within those 10, he taught me to be a man, like how to take care of fam, saying yes sir and no ma'am. Told me to always strive for my best, because in the greater Memphis, you never know what's next. Life is like a game and it's hard to press reset. Some people's dream jobs are flipping patties for a check. Growing up in the M, I started from the bottom, ain't nowhere to go but to the top. It's a roller coaster, but the thing is that in Memphis, most likely the vertical drop just won't stop. However, living in this city has taught me to flourish no matter what, because I'm from Memphis, T-E-N-N-E-S-S-E, and I can finally acknowledge how much it has taught me. Greater Memphis.
Word.
All right. Brian,
How you doing?
can we give him another hand? Good afternoon. My name is Elliot Perry. I'm here to welcome you to the My Brother's Keepers Youth Panel, presented by FedEx. Today's event celebrates the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, a man who in his own right inspired people from all walks of life to tap into their inner potential and speak out for racial equality, human rights, social justice, and peace. His ideas and vision remain meaningful today. His beliefs also confirm how important each one of you, our young people, are to the fabric of America's future. Earlier this summer, America took a step at valuing the significance of your success. The NBA answered that call and partnered with the President's My Brother's Keepers initiative, aimed to create opportunity for boys and young men of color. To break the ongoing cycle of society's misperception begins with you, your fellow classmates, and those who will ultimately follow in your footsteps. In Dr. King's words, we are inevitably our brother's keepers, because we are our brother's brother. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And strangely enough, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. You see, I get it. The Memphis Grizzlies get it. The NBA gets it. But today, we offer you our ear. So without further ado, let me turn the panel over to our esteemed moderator. Esteemed? The legendary.
Pot somewhere or something?
The legendary Bob Lanier.
How y'all doing? Now, they made me take off my jacket because they said that I look too good to be up here with these gentlemen right here if I kept the jacket on. What, you don't believe me? But My Brother's Keeper is a phenomenal program. The president just kind of started this program back a few months ago when he announced it at the White House. And so many corporations, foundations, public and private sector have bought into this program. And I guess we're just glad to be here because the Memphis Grizzlies invited us down here and as part of our NBA's, used our NBA resources and our NBA family to kind of touch the lives of young brothers all over the country. That's what we're trying to do. I like that fact that we have this nice student panel here along with our great players, but we encourage all of you that are in the room to participate in a conversation, not just kind of stay back and listen. If there's a perception that you want to bring forward, I ask that you bring it forward, okay? I said okay. Okay, I thought maybe the audience had died on me for a minute. First question. The data shows that boys of color are less likely to graduate high school, more likely to be suspended, less likely to be able to read, and almost certain to encounter criminal system as either a perpetrator or victim before they reach adulthood. Norman, start us off. Is that data accurate, or is that just somebody saying something?
Well, actually, I attend East High School, which is a school where I am able to observe statistics like those and those that are similar to those firsthand. And I can say that the inaccuracy occurs when they place the people that have deficiencies like that all in one basket, instead of highlighting the people that choose to carry themselves differently and allowing them to inspire the others to do better. I feel like we spend too much time focusing on the negative.
So how do we change those kinds of perceptions? How many people in the audience, just raise your hand, young people in the audience, have from single-parented homes? Now, just curiously, Chauncey. Oh, I forgot to introduce the audience. My bad. Y'all stand up and introduce yourselves. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Norman Harris. I'm a senior at East High School, valedictorian and class president.
My name is Gutierrez. I attend Kirby High School. I'm a senior and I represent Latino Memphis here in Memphis.
My name is Brian Carr again. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, obviously, and I attend University of Tennessee at Knoxville.
My name is Glenn Vaulx. I attend the high school, Central High School, and I'm a senior.
My name is Chauncey Billups. Recently retired NBA player, played 17 seasons. I'm happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Jason Collins, also recently retired. I played 13 years in the NBA and graduated from Stanford University in 2001.
Esteemed panel we have right here. Chauncey, getting back to you now. When you were coming up, all of these things about the way kids are looked at today in terms of not being able to realize a dream, having confidence, not being able to read, going to prison and all that, was that commonplace where you grew up?
I think that, yes, it was. And I think that that's pretty commonplace for anybody growing up in the inner city. Whether it's fair or not, you know, I spoke on a panel yesterday and I actually talked to your point I feel like some of our media outlets should do a better job of not, will portray more of these young men, you know, as opposed to, I mean, I grew up in the inner city and I thought that, you know, making it to the NBA or NFL, or if not, maybe being a rapper or being a singer was probably my only way out of the neighborhood. And I'm pretty sure that's still a similar thought among a lot of inner city kids, and it's just not true. You know, it's false, it's not true. I mean, we look at now in this day and age and we have a black president. I never imagined or thought that that would be something that you should shoot for. We have a black mayor. You guys have a black mayor in your town, black mayor in Denver, where I'm from. That's from my neighborhood. That, you know, when you can see it and you can touch it, you know, I always say when I'm able to be in a position where, you know, I can go to camps or I can go and speak at different events, the more that they can see me as opposed to not seeing me on TV, they can see me and they can give me five or they can give me a hug or they can really talk to me and interact with me. Now it lets you know, like, okay, the dude is he's regular. He's a regular guy. He's not this 12-foot guy that is untouchable, unreachable. This guy can relate to me. He's been through what I've been through. I mean, he's seen the kind of struggles and tribulations that I've been through. And it just gives you the confidence to know, like, man, that dude is just regular. I can do that. You know, I can do that. And I think that's very, very important. I think things like these are very, very important. And I think, you know, you guys and you young guys are really, you know, really undervalued in our community. And I think we got to find a way to start to change that.
How do y'all get more confidence in yourselves, though? I mean, in terms of people, when I was young, there were people that I looked up to in my community and in my family structure that helped me to be the way I am today. How is it with y'all growing up? I don't understand. Do y'all have the same kinds of support mechanisms, or has that all changed? Anybody can jump in and answer.
Well, I can personally say, being in this day and age, being intellectually gifted or anything along that line is not always frowned upon. You can find a way to take that and turn it into a way to give back to people. It's usually hard for lower performing people to relate to people that maybe have high test scores or things like that, but it's through.
So you saying you got high test scores?
I do.
Okay. Just checking.
So they usually find like a disconnect right there, feeling like they can't relate to that person, so they're less apt to try to learn from them. Mm-hmm. So just bridging the gap between those two groups of people through relationships and mentoring, things like that.
So Jason, you can identify with that. You were a Stanford grad. You know, that's higher echelon for a brother coming out of, where'd you come out of?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Well, it started with my parents and my family always stressing education. Vince Carter at the event we did yesterday was talking about not being an athlete student, but being a student athlete. Knowing and being realistic that, yeah, we had a dream of being a professional athlete, but being realistic that it's going to be very hard to achieve that. So education is going to be the way to make something of your life. And we never wanted a college coach to say to us, you're a great player, we would love to have you at our school, but you don't have the grades to go to our school. We wanted to be the best athletes, but also the best students, and so that ultimately one day we can go to, which is what ended up happening, Mike Krzyzewski from Duke, most people know who that is. You know, we can say thanks but no thanks. And it's hard to turn down that, but we had an opportunity to go to a university, an institution that had a great athletic program, but also academically. And in addition to that, it's also making those connections to people who are gonna do things down the road. The term networking. Three of my roommates, I had three roommates in college. One is now an executive for Disney, the other is an executive for Nike, and the other one is a congressman representing the state of Massachusetts in Washington, D.C. And I've known these guys from parties in college and just establishing those relationships, though, so that you never know. You have to prepare yourself for an opportunity when it comes, and picking up a phone call, picking up a phone to call someone, and maybe can lead you to get a job one day.
So Glenn, what do you think about what he just said?
Well, I really feel that the family part of confidence that really relates to me. I feel like my family is more of a support system for me because they've kind of supported me on doing the best that I can in what I do. And so failure has never really been an option or a thought in my mind. So whatever it is that I do, I've always put forth my best and never really had to deal with the fact that I may not achieve at what it is that I'm doing. I've always felt that I could be the best at what I do, or become the best at, or become whatever I want to become. And my family has been a big part of me. It's been a big part in me believing that way. And then as a senior going to college, he was saying that you want to be the best to where you have colleges coming to you trying to get you to go to their school instead of you having to kind of find the college or try to get yourself known to that college. And so I feel like, you know, the past 4 years in high school, the work that I've done has gotten me to the point to where I haven't had to go out and look for certain colleges to go to, or I may have not had to I haven't had to deal with the fact that I probably won't be going to college, because I feel like I put forth the work to be confident enough that I can achieve scholarships and get acceptance letters into the schools that I want to go.
Alan, is that reflective of your journey too?
Yes, sir, definitely. I think we have a thought of, since being Hispanic or Latino, you don't have the same opportunities of, you know, getting to the college you want to go. This is my last year. I'm a senior at Kirby High, and I think through all the years, I developed a thing for my studies in life. I think that I want to do culinary arts, so that has helped me reach to where I want to do this, and it doesn't matter how hard it is, but I will still strike for it because that's what I want. And support my family. My mother, she has worked almost all her life just to get me to where I want to go. And I think that if I don't reach that goal, all that work was worth nothing. So to my experience, support from family, from teachers, from the community is so important these days, because that's how that's the idea that you get in your mind of doing better, of reaching out places you never thought you were going to reach, and then come back and give out to the people to help you get to where you are.
Sure enough. Elliot, quick question for you. You got a microphone? You talked last night about your grandfather and work ethic, and it seems like something that's a common thread with these young, successful black people that I'm looking at up here. Talk to us about that for a minute.
I talked a little bit about just kind of, my grandfather had a 5th grade education, and, you know, the 3 basic things he taught me was, you know, work hard every day, have a positive attitude about what you're trying to do, and then take care of your family. And so I like what's happening here today, because none of these young men, and I'm sure a lot of the young men in the audience, are not looking at where they come from as an excuse and using that as an excuse, but saying that I can be the best that I can be, and applying themselves. And so I'm inspired by these young men and also the young men in the audience, because when I look at them, I see myself, and it shows that anything you want to do in life, you can do it, but first you have to apply yourself.
So how do we get that messaging to be heard to the knuckleheads in communities across America? You know, because a lot of kids are just going about their way doing dumb things, I think, for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe somebody in the audience can help me, and I don't mean to be, but do y'all know what I'm talking about when I say knuckleheads? Okay, very good. Okay, that's who I want to try to. These kids right here seem like they get it. They're rooted, they get the messaging, and they're going to share that messaging. How do we get to the knuckleheads?
I think one of the ways is, you know, we use our experiences. You know, I mean, you look at Chauncey, you look at Jason. I mean, when you interface with a young person, sometimes just the language you use, and they can realize, oh, I know that language, and they can loosen up some, or, you know, holding them to high expectations and saying to them that you believe in them, that you put your arms around them and say, hey, look, I come from that same place, so what I'm talking about is not just something somebody told me. I went through the process. I fought hard to try to be successful and try to be a role model. And you know, I think that they could see somebody that looks like them go through those things and say, you know, I can achieve those things. But I just think it takes all of us. You know, it's not just kind of a silver bullet. It's us chipping away at, you know, doing our part whatever little part that may be. That may be encouraging somebody, that may be mentoring a young man or a group of young men, that may be speaking at a school, that may be, there are a lot of different ways that we can affect our young people. And eventually you hope that a light bulb goes on.
As a young man growing up, because I forget I'm the oldest one in the audience right here, right now. Well, maybe not the oldest one in the audience, but I'm the oldest one in this panel right now. What are the kinds of things that you think as a young person today that somebody that's supporting you should be trying to give to you? In other words, My Brother's Keepers is about mentoring and educational values and stuff like that. What are the things that y'all looking for in somebody that you come in contact, like you come in contact with a Chauncey or Jason or Elliot? I mean, what are you trying to get from them or gather from them?
What I look for in a mentor is, especially like we got NBA players like here sitting among us, just to come to me and show me that my dreams are attainable. Showing me that there's nothing special or different about me. Like he said, using your experiences to reach success, and then not only once you reach it, to actually take the time and seize the opportunity to go back and help others to reach it too. To show me that my dreams can be reached, and it's gonna be a fight, but it's not impossible because I've done it.
Brian?
To me, what I look for in a mentor, basically just show me that like we're on the same level, and that I can be somebody one day. Like show me that, I can reach all my dreams. I can be what I want in life. Show me the hardships. Let me know the hardships that I'm gonna go through, because everything you do in life isn't gonna be a fairy tale. It's not gonna be easy. So let me know ahead of time what I'm getting myself into, what I can do, and let me know that I can do it. It's just encouragement, motivation. It helps. Yeah, it's positive encouragement, because it helps. You can move mountains with encouragement. So.
Alan?
I think that's true. I think what I'm looking into when I see someone that's going to mentor me, it's the help, the encouragement that we're going to have. Like my friends here say, it's not going to be easy. No one says it's going to be easy. But it all depends on you wanting that. And just to have them here tell me that, it's possible. And, like they say, it's nothing special about us. Being stars or anything. It's just that, you have reached to the point where you wanted to be, and now it's our time to come back and, get with us, so that we can reach the same, the same dreams that they had in us, so that one day we can come back and, encourage someone else.
How do you get to a point of, I think, feeling in your heart that you can be successful when people are always beating you down? I'm I don't know, years old, and I every day of my life, honestly, I'm trying to prove that the storyline from when I was a kid is not the same. Trying to get rid of that. You can't have intellect, you can't read, you can't talk, you can't converse with others, you can't network. How do you continue to do that? Chauncey, maybe you can start it, and Jason, you can chime in, but because they have to continue on this journey that they're on. If they're on a really great positive journey right now, but you can get pulled down and back into some other kind of life very easily. Sure.
I think that, you got to kind of rest on what you've been taught and what you believe in. And as this young fellow said, his confidence is really, really high, and it should be. I think you only get confidence from working hard and knowing your craft. He can go, in any classroom, any building, and feel confident to know that maybe I don't know the content right now, but just give me a day or so. If I study that, if I work hard and I know the process of getting to know it, this will be easy intel for me. I mean, I'll be able to do that. So it's all about the process and you working hard. And there's got to be some rules. I mean, some of you guys talked about some of the things you may need in your mentorship with somebody. And when I'm mentoring kids, whether it's boys or girls, there's always some things that I tell them that maybe once my grandfather or grandmother told me that I didn't get at the time. I used to often get in trouble around the house, and my grandfather would tell me, discipline is not something you do to somebody, it's something you do for somebody. And I didn't get that. I'm like, man, I'm on punishment, what are you talking about? And then as I got older, I started to realize what he meant, and the discipline that he instilled in me was something that he did for me, and it wasn't just to me. So things like that, little situations like that. One of the little instances I had last week with a girl that just joined my leadership academy, she was telling me that there were boys at the school that were demeaning her, talking down to her, talking less to her. But what she didn't tell me was how she was coming to school dressed. She was dressed with a little shirt on, or had a little, she's a senior, she had a little cleavage showing. And what I told her was, how you dress is how you will be addressed. And she didn't get it. And I said, well, if you dressed appropriately, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't feel comfortable enough to say whatever they said to you. So little things like that are very short and to the point, sometimes resonate with guys and girls your age. And that's kind of how I try to mentor, and what I try to show a lot of kids a lot of times, just instances. You rely on instances, not just, what happened back in 1982, something. Nah, you need to know what's going on right now, so you can apply it to yourself. And I think little things like that will have you guys going off and having great careers. The one thing that I would say about, I always believe that shining a light on these guys and even these girls this age that are doing well is not done enough. And I think oftentimes you kind of go after what you see, and what you guys always see is myself or Jason Collins or Elliot Perry coming out of the same neighborhood as you guys and playing 10 years in the NBA. And that's something that is attainable. The chances are not very likely, but even if you have the opportunity to do that, the careers that you guys are going to have one day, and you guys are going to have one day, are going to be far longer than the careers that we have. Trust me. You make it to the NBA, and it's great. Most times, I think the average career is 4 years. You make a nice living. But you say you come into the NBA at 22, and you play 5 years, you're 27. You're probably going to live another 60 years. So whatever money that you made during that time that you probably blew because you wanted to get the ice and the Bentleys and all of that, which is something that we all do. We all from the neighborhood. We all want nice things. But you got to make that money stretch for 60 years. Now you got a family, you got kids, you got this and that. Well, you guys are going to be able to work your jobs and your profession until you're probably the retirement age, and make a lot more than the guy that you thought was in the NBA playing. You're going to make a lot more money than these guys, and be a lot more savvy with your money than these guys. Because we all, most of the time, when we come into the league, our first generation money, don't really know how to handle the money, don't know how to invest, don't know how, we're first generation. So it's kind of, you got to fall and bump your head sometimes. But the education that you guys are going to get, going to school and going to college, and listening to older guys and listening to your mentors, I promise you, man, will be much more valuable than trying to chase, this NBA dream. I mean, that we were lucky enough to have, and we were all one game, one injury away from not having it or being cut short. An injury to your knee or to your leg, it can't stop what you guys are gonna do. It can't stop what you guys are gonna do. It can't cut your career short. So just be confident, man, in what you guys are doing. It's beautiful.
Jason, and I want the audience to know this too, in our NBA family structure, you don't have to be just an athlete to be a part of the NBA family structure. I mean, we got jobs as community reps. Elliot is an owner, and Elliot, I want you to talk about that for a moment because they keep that kind of under the radar. You know, you were probably the first brother that had a minority participation in an NBA franchise, and you came from the same background that all these young kids came from. So talk to us about that for a moment.
I think it's, you know, part of it was, I mean, I probably couldn't take credit for it, but some of it is just God's favor and having an opportunity to be around people who believed in me, people who mentored me both directly and indirectly, and then the other piece is people who just gave me an opportunity, and I was able to seize that opportunity. So it's still a learning process for me, being a minority owner, but it's giving me a platform to say to our young people that, again, it is possible, but I think it requires you being attentive, it requires you being prepared, and it requires you having an open mind to different things, to being in front of different people, to building relationships with different people, to being out of your comfort zone at times, and just learning. So again, it's been God's favor for me, but it's been a great ride and a great learning experience for me.
Jason, anything to add?
Yeah, continue to rely on your support system, those people, those positive role models that are in your life, so that when you are faced with adversity, be it a coach, a parent, teacher, you know, go to them. They're there to support you. And sometimes I remember being back in school and I got a bad grade, and I had to go to the teacher and say, I need help, I don't understand the subject. And that's all the teacher. Sometimes people are just waiting for you to take that first step, and then they'll help you take the next 3. And support system is extremely important.
What about in the community, the responsibility of the church to help in this mentoring and raising? Because I remember back when I was coming up, we were all in the church, and my mother was a Seventh-day Adventist, and so we went to the church on Saturdays. But the church members were all there helping, you know, support us and teach us, and you couldn't stray, you know, without something going on, without somebody jumping in your stuff. Is that good or no?
Well, I know from my experience at church, the church family is pretty big in all of the youth's lives at my church. But I also know that church is not as big as it used to be in communities and in families. So everyone probably doesn't have that opportunity who's our age to go to church or have that faith-based part in their life. So everyone doesn't attend church like they used to or take part in church activities. And everyone may not know that that life may exist.
Now, could that be why some of these societal ills are going on with our young people?
It could, because they don't go to church. It could be.
Yes.
Just piggybacking off him, the reason that people don't go to church is probably because, especially when you have people that don't live as lavishly as some others may, churches can be very judgmental of the backgrounds that people come from. So maybe if churches were more accepted of the diversity of the backgrounds that their members may have, people will be more apt to go out and seek the avenues to get help that the churches offer.
So what advice would you give, I don't know, a young person that wanted to help a young person that was having problems? How do we reach out to that person? What advice would you give us to give to them, you know, that are going through difficulties and challenges in their lives?
I think it all just boils all the way back down to support. Just being supportive of even the highest career aspirations that they may have. If they tell you that they want to be a president or anything like that, I mean, Years ago, we would have never thought we would have had a black president, but I'm quite sure.
Not in my life.
Right, I'm quite sure Barack Obama went in his mother's room and said, "Oh, Mom, I want to be president one day," and she was like, "Yeah, sure." But you know, just being supportive, even of the highest career aspiration. They say, even if you shoot for the moon, if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Like, even if you don't reach your goal, you'll reach something that's close enough to where you can still achieve success.
I think that going back to what he was saying about church, that advice I will give is don't be afraid of going out there. Don't be afraid of seeing new things. As a Hispanic young man, I think that being able to broaden that eyes, to see what's out there, what's there for me to know. To know more people, to get involved with my community is one of the things that will help me grow as a person. And also, there's different people that have supported me, not just saying from my race, but I know friends that are like they're scared of going out there and asking for help because they don't know how other people is gonna react to their prayers or what they're asking for. They don't know how everything's gonna work. So I think it's just encouraging people to go out there and talk to other people, might not be as well, that are different to you. Not saying that, going to a Hispanic church is different than going to a Black American church.
Have you been to a Black American church?
Yes, sir.
And how was the experience?
It's not a much difference.
No?
No, not at all. Some of my friends, we all get together to go to church, and they'll come to my church. I'll go to their church, and it's not much different because we're praying to the same God. It's, Jesus is here for us. We're everything we have is because of Him, and just understanding, being able to understand the difference that we have as different races, but at the end of the day, then again, we're all the same.
B, I got to ask you a question. How'd you get into this poetry thing? I mean, you got to be pretty bright to just memorize all that stuff, right? And then you got to be creative enough to conceive it.
Yeah.
Look at you beaming, man, when I asked you that question.
I feel like, it's just a part of me. I walk around the house all day thinking of just notes to write down, and I jot them in my iPhone. So it's just a part of me. I started 12th grade cheer at the poetry slam at school. It was the Greater Memphis Poetry Slam. So basically, I had to write about how growing up in Memphis has inspired me. So I talked about a lot of the same things I talked about in the My Freedom Is poem. And basically,
can I hear it?
The Greater Memphis?
Yeah.
I don't really have it prepared right now.
Oh, I thought you had it all in your mind.
Yeah. I could dig it up, but it'll be pretty rough if I just said it right now. But I started 12th grade cheer, and it's been just a part of me. Just everyday life experiences, I just write them down and put my opinions on paper and just let people know how I feel about certain situations.
Elliot, last thoughts?
I think we got what we wanted to get out of this is to hear from our young people. So many times we're always talking to them and trying to share our experiences. But I think today we wanted to hear from them.
See, these guys make you proud.
These guys make you extremely proud. And all of those, all of those stats you talked about at the beginning,
they defy all of that.
They defy all of those stats. Yeah. And I think that's the I wouldn't say the missing piece, but the piece that's not talked about enough is we so much focus on a lot of the negative things that we sometimes forget to highlight the great work that our young people are doing and who are doing good things. And so that's why we wanted to do what we did today, is to not only hear from them, but to say to our young people that, not only is it possible, in some ways, you're actually doing it. It may be in little small ways, and it may be in big ways, but just keep chipping away at it, keep chipping away at it. And so, again, we want to thank our young people for sharing their thoughts.
Anybody have a question for our panelists at all? I can't see you out there. Go ahead. Just stand up, say your name, and ask a question.
My name is Joshua Conway. I'm a senior at Memphis Business Academy High School, and I basically have a question for the NBA. Not singling anybody out, but my question is, on y'all rise to success when things got tough and you really felt like it was no way out, or when a situation came up or anything, what helped y'all? What motivated y'all to keep going and not just give up?
I guess I'll take it first. Chauncey was talking about earlier about injuries. So my biggest injury was I dislocated my wrist on my shooting hand when I was in college. You have 8 bones in your wrist, 7 of mine moved out of position. I was in a cast and off the court for about 6 months. And when I got back on the court, I stood underneath the basket and I didn't have enough strength to get the ball up to the rim. And I'm a sophomore in college and I'm thinking, wow, this could be it. But that's why I was at Stanford. So that if something did happen, I would be in a good situation. But I wasn't ready to give up on my NBA dream yet either. So I relied on my support system. My family kept me strong. Yeah, there were down days, and then as I was training and working hard to get back out on the court, I actually became a better shooter after my injury than I was before, because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to achieve my dreams, and I knew it was going to be hard work. And there's no substitute for it. I know you've heard that, and it sounds cliche, but there's no substitute for hard work. If you want something, you got to train. You got to work hard for it. And to the end, where my senior year, I was, here I am 7 feet tall, shooting threes, and shooting around 46% from the three-point line. So
Get your butt inside.
no, you see Dirk, you see the game later tonight, you're gonna see a 7-footer shoot some threes, and it's just, adversity, adversity can make you stronger. And you just, keep pushing through the challenge.
Obviously there's going to be pitfalls in any journey. That's why they call it a journey. And there's going to be peaks and valleys. Obviously we all hit them. You guys will too. And when you do, I think, just thinking back on what I used to do, to be honest with you, is, every time something happened, whether it was injury, whether it was, just struggling, whatever it might be, I would always think back to the journey that my grandparents had to go through to get to where they were just making a living and earning for the family, and to see where I was and what I was shooting after, and to say to myself, man, I've been blessed enough to do a lot, be able to do a lot more than they was ever even thought that was imaginable. So why am I stressed? I'm still in a good place. I'm in a great place. And knowing that if I continue to work, continue to push forward and move forward, that things will change. Things will change. You're never going to always be on the uphill battle. You're always going to level out sometimes. Sometimes you're going to go down. But just staying consistent the whole time in your work ethic and in your process, and knowing that if you just stand on what's right and you just do what's right, things will always turn out good for you.
Having a good value system, man, that'll keep you rooted in really tough and difficult times. Go back to your roots. And I think the other thing, you gotta believe in yourself. And we all have these times where we're challenged with not feeling that we might be good enough or whatever at times. Even in my journey, you think, man, there was some times that I just felt that, why am I here? Why are you sitting across from owners in a collective bargaining meeting with these people who you never thought you'd sit in a room with, and listening to them, and being able to, because you're intellectually capable, to be able to interact with them on top of that about issues that we were dealing with in the NBA. So be prepared, number one, be passionate about what you do, remember how you're valued, and use your network of people. Like something that we tell our rookies in our rookie transition program, you know, when they see legends like these guys that are here, and Elliot, who's an owner, take advantage of the opportunity to get them, you know, you're technologically savvy. Get their information, send them a text, ask them questions. It can only be in your favor as you grow older and older and older. And then when you come back and you reach the levels that these guys reach, then you reach back in the community and pull somebody else out. And that's how we're going to all get better and better and better and make our community stronger. Give our panelists a great big hand. This was a really nice session. Thank all of y'all for coming, and Elliot, you have last word.
Well, again, we want to, on behalf of the Memphis Grizzlies, on behalf of the Grizzlies Foundation, we want to thank you guys for coming out. We want to thank our panelists, but more importantly, we want to thank you young guys for sharing your experiences. I think we got what we wanted to get out of today, and that's to engage our young people. And my hope is that each one of you realize that you have the potential to do anything you want to do. And like Jason talked about, some of this stuff sounds like a cliche, but it's real. And you can do it. And our job is to continue to nudge you and nudge you and nudge you forward until hopefully you realize that that potential is attainable. And so again, keep going regardless of what happens, regardless of the adversities, regardless of the pitfalls, regardless of what good happens in your life. There's always another day. And so thank you guys for coming out on behalf of the Memphis Grizzlies, the NBA, and my brother's keeper.